So, the Nuggets are currently down 0-3 to the Phoenix Suns, and as much as I would like to believe they could pull off some kind of unbelievable, historic comeback, something even crazier than what they did last season, let's just be real, it's not going to happen. Okay, most of these games with the Suns haven't even been all that close. They've just kind of dominated them. Straight up, they've got their number, alright? The Nuggets just do not have enough offensive help around Nikola Jokic. Michael Porter Jr. is young, he's inexperienced, the Suns have shut him down, and Jokic just can't do enough on his own against a very good Suns team that very well could make the NBA Finals this season. He just can't. However, Nuggets fans should not be surprised or upset with how their season has ended. I gotta be honest, I didn't have them beating the Blazers in the first round. Going into that series, I had Blazers in 7. Even though I thought it could go either way, I just thought without Jamal Murray, they weren't going to be able to get it done. And lo and behold, they did. They did it in 6 games. Nikola Jokic really played like the MVP of the league. Michael Porter Jr. looked great. Monte Morris stepped up. The team was phenomenal, despite the fact that Damian Lillard also had a historic playoff series. The Nuggets were just too good, and they managed to make the second round, and now, without their second best player, they lost in the second round to a legitimate title contending team. That's fine. That is nothing to be ashamed of. This season was great for the Nuggets. Nikola Jokic deservingly won the MVP. Yes, I believe it would have gone to Embiid had he played as many games as Jokic, but he didn't. And I'm not unhappy at Jokic winning it. He had a ridiculous season. He just had another ridiculous game last night. He had the first 30, 20, and 10 game by any player since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in 1970. The only other player to do it, Wilt Chamberlain in 1967. Ridiculous competition. Ridiculous. Nikola Jokic is a beast, and he's only 25, I believe. Yes, he is only 25 years old. This man's probably going to win another MVP very soon. And because of that, because of how young this team is, because of their talent, I believe that next season, the Denver Nuggets are going to make the NBA Finals and have a very real shot at winning the 2022 NBA Championship. Now, for some people, that might seem like a little bit of a stretch. Not to say that the Nuggets are contenders, but to say right now that they are the pick to make the finals next season, because I'm saying that they are 100%, as of right now, my pick to make the finals out of the West next season. Some people may think that's a little far, but I really don't think it is. You look at this team, look at their contracts. Next season, they are going to have Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, Aaron Gordon, Will Barton, assuming he doesn't turn down his $15 million player option, which I can't imagine he would, JaMychal Green, Campazzo, Michael Porter Jr., Zeke, whoever that is, and Monte Morris is the other big name. So you can ignore a couple of those guys in there, but the important ones, basically all of their important players, with the exception of Paul Millsap, are coming back next season. And Paul Millsap, as much as I like him, he's 36. He is not the player he used to be, and when he leaves, he's going to leave a $10 million hole in this team, which they can use to sign someone else. In fact, they have a solid chance at re-signing Paul Millsap on some kind of minimum contract. He's going to be 37. I wouldn't be surprised if he decides to just finish his career here in Denver for a much smaller contract. But whether he leaves or not, they are going to have some cap space to get another solid role player coming off the bench. And then you've got your starting lineup: Jamal Murray, Jokic, Gordon, Barton, Michael Porter Jr., and you can switch out Barton there for Monte Morris because he has been a beast. But either way, he's a great player, and he's going to be a great pickup. And you look at this core, the oldest player in that group is Will Barton at 30 years old, and then below them, it's Nikola Jokic, who's going to be 26. Aaron Gordon's 25, Murray's 24, Michael Porter Jr. is only 22, and Monte Morris is 25. This is a young core of incredible talent, and even this season, they managed to be the 12th defense in the NBA, despite Aaron Gordon only being there part of the season. Jamal Murray really improved his defense, Will Barton's a decent defender, and Michael Porter Jr., even though his defense has not exactly been anything to write home about, is an impressive defensive potential as a player. You know what I'm saying? He has the length, the athleticism. He can become a good defender. He just hasn't gotten there yet. And even though I'm not saying he's going to be Kawhi one day or Ben Simmons, I do think he could become at least an above average defender. Enough that most of this team is a good defense. They might even be able to be a top 10 defense next season, despite Nikola Jokic probably never becoming even an average defender. I know some people want to sit there and say, he's an average defender already. In fact, he's an above average defender. He gets rebounds, he gets steals. No. Stop. Look, I like Nikola Jokic a lot. He's a below average defender. He probably always will be. I don't know what stats you're looking at, but literally just watch the game. This team is much better on defense with him off the floor. He's arguably the best offensive player in the league. I would probably say number 2 behind Steph Curry, but his defense is not good, so chill out, please. He's not a good defender. He never will be. Anyway, getting off topic here. The defense is decent on this team. Michael Malone is a very good defensive coach, and in fact, he's a very good coach on both ends. This season, they were 7th in offensive rating, and I actually expect that to be better next season. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they are the number 2 offense in the league next season, only behind the Brooklyn Nets. Murray, Jokic, Michael Porter Jr., that is an amazing offensive trio right there, not to mention Monte Morris, who has really stepped up since Jamal Murray went out. This team is going to be unstoppable on offense. Michael Porter Jr. has really disappointed against the Phoenix Suns, but honestly, people shouldn't be that surprised. This is his first real playoff appearance. He's super young, he's inexperienced, and the Suns are a very smart team who plays very good defense. I'm not surprised. I kind of expected them to lock him down. If I'm being completely honest, I was just waiting for this to happen. He went off against the Blazers for the most part because they're a terrible defensive team. The Suns are actually decent, so of course they did a good job defending him. But when you get Jamal Murray back in there, he's going to take pressure off of Jokic. He's going to take pressure off of everybody. We know what a great player Jamal Murray is. He's been improving every season, and we also know that he steps the fuck up in the playoffs. He always improves in the playoffs, similar to Donovan Mitchell, as we all saw them friggin' go head-to-head the other year, and that was an incredible performance from both of those players. By the way, shout out Donovan Mitchell right now. I still believe Rudy Gobert is the best player on that team, but man, playoff Donovan Mitchell is a different beast. He really is like the new Reggie Miller, this shooting guard who just goes freaking ham in the playoffs after having pretty solid regular seasons. Okay, Donovan Mitchell's a monster. Just needed to get that out of the way. Anyway, looking at the West next season, the Mavericks are not going to fix their team in 1 year. They're not going to get rid of Porzingis. They're not going to get enough depth around Luka. I don't expect them to make the finals. The Suns, Chris Paul's going to be another year older. I think they're going to be about the same or slightly worse. The Lakers are getting older, the Clippers are getting older, and they can't seem to figure it out ever anyway. And the Jazz are also getting a little bit older. You got guys on you got guys on that team like Mike Conley and Bojan who might just get a little bit older, and I think they had a little bit of luck this year too. Like, they just outperformed what they should have just a little bit. And even if the Nuggets do face the Jazz and they're still this good, Rudy Gobert cannot stop Nikola Jokic, and the rest of that team just doesn't have the elite perimeter defense to deal with all of the Nuggets' scores, so I don't believe in them either. Because of this, I really believe that the Denver Nuggets are making the finals next season, and I think they have a very real chance at winning the title. My current pick is Nuggets vs. Sixers in the finals, and I would have to take the Sixers. Of course, I'm a fan of the Sixers, but I don't know, man. The Denver Nuggets are a beastly team. Depending on who they get to replace their opening in cap space this offseason, some solid role player to come off the bench, somebody to add depth to their team, they could absolutely be the best team in the league next season. Don't be shocked if Nikola Jokic comes in next year and wins another MVP as the first seed in the West. This is a scary team for the next decade. This is going to be a fantastic team. I'm very excited to see what the Nuggets do next season. Do not be sad about how this season's about to end, Nuggets fans. You get a very, very bright future in store.